I'm joined by Anthony Trecek-King, BCI's Artistic Director.
I'm the resident conductor with the Handel Haydn Society here in Boston. I also do some creative work with the Voces 8.
So let us know a little bit about your programming.
There's something for everybody on the program. There's obviously doing Mozart, the Coronation Mass, K.317. And if you're not familiar with the piece, you're familiar with Mozart and Mozart's language. But we have two other composers who are connected to Mozart in various different ways. The first composer is Marianna Martines, and she's a very interesting composer, born in Vienna. In her apartment building, Haydn was in the upper floor. So in this apartment building, the higher in the floor you went, kind of the lower status you were. So I find it very interesting that Haydn was in the attic, which was, the lowest status possible. But she was able to run into Haydn. Haydn actually gave her lessons. He actually accompanied her when she would sing. But she's an incredibly talented vocalist, harpsichordist, and composer. And you may not have heard of her before, largely because her music was relegated because she's female. And Mozart was actually influenced by her, especially younger Mozart, kind of modeled some of his earlier masses when he was a teenager off of some of her work. And Marianna, when she was living kind of this high society in Vienna, she would hold these salon concerts. And Mozart was one of the people that came over to her house to perform. So they were definitely deeply connected. And then the other composer who never got to know Mozart, unfortunately, but knew his music was José Nunes Garcia, who is Brazilian. Both his parents were known as fatherless children. In other words, they were children of slaves and the slave owners. He became the champion of this Viennese classical music in the New World. So he premiered the Mozart Requiem in Brazil. And the piece that we're doing of his is his Requiem, which parodies Mozart's Requiem. But there's one thing that's really special about this Requiem compared to Mozart is that he actually wrote it all. I think there's some interesting composers who are directly connected to Mozart, but I like to bring together kind of this worldly approach to looking at music and music history and saying, yeah, Mozart's great, but what else in the world is happening outside of Mozart, and even outside of Europe at the same time?
Great. Well, we're very much looking forward to having you back on the podium this season in Denver. And thanks so much for speaking with us.
Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.